hello to our 3 listeners, and welcome to this week's episode of Dad Made Me Watch It. Unfortunately, this is going to be our last episode, seeing as how I'm now going to run off and join the Amish to forget and never see anything like what we just saw again. I'm speaking, of course, of this week's movie, which was Xanadu, more like Xanadu.
That was your mission on Earth? Are you serious? They sent you down for that?
I'm looking for meaning here. I don't think I'm going to find any, but God help me, I'm looking.
He kind of freaks me out because he had like an obsession with her the entire movie.
This is Dad Made Me Watch It.
No, It's not anymore. It's Dad Made Me Suffer.
Hello everyone, this is Brian and welcome to Dad Made Me Watch It, the podcast where I subject my children to some of the movies I watched when I was growing up. With me as always are my children.
Hi everybody, it's Colin. I'm here again. Surprise, surprise.
It's Caitlin.
It's Emma.
Okay, so we warmed up with a couple of sci-fi flicks, a time-traveling fantasy, and a simple comedy, but this week we examine a relic that most of us who lived through the 80s have desperately tried to bury.
This is why Mom didn't sit and watch it with us, because she knew. She was like, oh, you're watching that movie? No, thank you. I'm going to do actual work.
Like, so this was a musical, I guess?
Don't say that.
Xanadu. Take a little bit of Greek mythology, a few rasping gasps from the last days of disco, roller skates, and a script written on the back of a cocktail napkin, and that's what we get. Xanadu.
I think it's more like a bunch of theater kids did shrooms in a club and then went to Sonic and decided that they can somehow string all of these things together, along with their enjoyment of theater. It didn't work.
So, alright, first things first, we're going to be going over some major plot points here, if we can say this actually had a plot. So if you want to discover this film spoiler free, you'll want to check it out before we dive in here. Okay, so big question everybody, what did you guys think of this movie?
I'm thinking about putting myself up for adoption. I can do that, right?
Halfway through the movie, I felt the urge to call CPS.
Oh, the dog's here. I wonder what the dog thought. What did you think of the movie, Strider?
I don't think the,
Yeah,
I don't think
that's
the dog
about
cared for
accurate.
it either.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one, folks.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt those shivers too. Okay.
Alright, well, I guess those are the first impressions. So here are the details, whatever we can
If
call
there even
details for this
are.
particular movie. Xanadu stars Olivia Newton-John as Kira, Gene Kelly as Danny McGuire, and Michael Beck as Sonny Malone. It was directed by Robert Greenwald, his first feature. Written by Richard Christian Danis, Mark Reed Rubel, and a nicotine-addicted orangutan named Coco. And it was scored by Barry.
wait. What?
Can you go back to the
Dvorak.
nicotine-addicted orangutan?
Yeah. Would you discount that if I said that was true?
You know what? I'll let you have it. Let's continue.
All right. Xanadu was released on August 8th, 1980, and it grossed just under $23 million during its initial theatrical run. Okay. So,
I think he's about to throw up.
Yeah, I don't blame him. It's a bad movie.
it was definitely interesting. Let's dive into the plot, such as it was.
Yeah, it was about a painter, right? I feel like they sort of lost that.
Yeah, that kind of
groove
disappeared
halfway
halfway through the movie, didn't it?
It's
Yeah,
like,
we meet Sonny Malone.
one hell of a name.
Yeah, he's a frustrated artist.
Aren't
And
they all?
yes, we see him sketching at the beginning of the movie, and he works for a record company that he's not too happy to be working for.
And then he littered.
And he littered. That's what he did. He opens the movie, he tears up one of his sketches, and what happens to the sketch?
He throws it out the window. Oh.
It goes on a massive voyage propelled by wind across, it looked like, several states, especially since the sun rose in the wrong part of the sky.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It was the West Coast, and you saw the sunrise on the Pacific, which is generally not something that would normally happen.
Okay, can I ask what you guys think of Sunny?
I didn't see a character. It was just.
I didn't like him. He
saw
seemed
hair.
so angry. You know, he seemed he was
So
very much a
negative.
frustrated artist, but at the same time, he didn't exactly,
Go to work.
go to work or,
Like, try to be inspired.
he was like, I saw this girl on this artist thing and I need to go find her. And they were like, yeah, that's cool. Maybe this is why you're, a starving
Struggling
artist,
because you
you're
don't wanna
not,
actually do
you're not
work.
willing to put in some work.
So he's kind of like just kicking the sand, wishing he can go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Are you
Is
gonna
what
make
you're
that
telling
joke
me?
every episode?
I will do that as long as it is appropriate. And let's face it, this guy was very whiny in the beginning with the fact that his dreams weren't
whiny
coming
throughout the
true.
movie.
Exact.
Not
I
just the
hate this
beginning.
kid. I hate
There
him.
is no character development. It's just Sunny, and there is no character.
He literally, the climax of the movie, he just complains to God, and then God's like, all right, fine, anything to get you to go away. Take the girl and get out of here. I'm done here.
Well, you're skipping all the. Well, maybe it's not such a bad thing. You're skipping everything, but when his
What even is there to
papers,
skip?
his torn up papers, wind up at a mural in an alley somewhere of 9 dancing women, and what happens?
They all come to life.
Yeah.
There's actually nothing happened. I
Nothing
mean,
important happened, though. They turned into the light, and then they shot across the country.
To an ELO song, right?
Yeah.
And they had
Okay.
a pretty. I liked. For some reason, I liked their dresses. I don't know why, but that
You
was
like
the
their
only
dresses?
thing I liked about that part. The rest of it's just.
Well, they all
I'm
glowed.
trying to forget it, so that's why I'm like.
They were leaving like rainbow vapor trails, like in their wake and everything like that, as they swooshed about
you
the
said
city.
this came out in the 80s?
It came out in 1980. Yes.
Okay, so, like, that was, like, right after the 70s, and that was, like, the hippie decade, right? So I guess that somewhat makes sense, that they're all hippies. It's
I
also, like,
suppose.
Los Angeles, and, I mean, that's where you're gonna find most hippies anyways.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And the majority of them were roller skating, I guess. And we
Okay,
find
I have what was the point with the rollers, like,
Every single person.
roller
in
skates
this
were
movie
really big in the
owns
early
roller
80s.
skates.
but that's the plot.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Greek mythology and roller
No,
skates.
no, not even Greek mythology, just
Roller skates.
Roller skates, yes. Well, not totally just roller skates. Let's
no,
face
it's
it.
just roller skates.
She roller skated around. Kira, that was the character played with Effervescence by Olivia Newton-John, who they were hoping that this movie was going to catapult her to leading lady status. It didn't quite work out that way.
That's sad.
It,
That's
it is
really
kind of
sad.
sad. So she was like the last of the dancing, glowing women, and she like runs into Sunny, and just because it was 1980, she just like grabs him and kisses him, and then rolls away.
Hey, Google, when was the AIDS epidemic? That was in the 80s, was it?
1981.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
How about that?
Well, I don't
That's
necessarily
definitely
think
safe.
an innocent PG-rated kiss is what launched the AIDS epidemic, but that's somewhat insightful of you to try to connect the two.
I'm looking for meaning here. I don't think I'm going to find any, but God help
No,
me,
you're
I'm
not.
looking.
Right. So
All right, so he ends up showing up at his job with some coworkers who I thought were going to be important, but never ended up being important again.
nope.
Nope.
They just
I like the.
they ribbed him a little bit
coworkers.
about, oh, you're back again. I guess the starving artist thing didn't work, and you want to make money now.
And he seems so upset with his job, but didn't he say he only works Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Yeah, he works twice a week, and apparently it's enough to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like,
And, like, he doesn't show up and he's still getting paid. Like, so what's the... If he's always
What's
late,
the problemo?
apparently.
Yeah, what's the big deal, right?
I'm sorry, is 5 other days a week not enough to work on your hobby, Sonny? Jesus.
And he also said he's a pretty quick painter, so he's like finishing these pieces pretty easily. It's not like it's hard. I mean,
Yeah, and he's like, I'm a starving artist, but yet, like, his job is to paint.
Yes, but you're missing the point. He's asked
what
to
point is
copy
there?
stuff. He's not expressing
Well, he
himself.
doesn't really look like he wants to express himself. He tried it,
Maybe
and he's like, I don't know what to do. Well, then you know what, Sonny? Go back to the drawing board, because, like...
you're an artist. That's what you do.
That is Sonny's role, I guess. But
I hate him.
he didn't. He just like went back and started doing stuff again, and he gets handed an album cover, and it happens to have the same girl that grabbed him and kissed him on it.
And he was like, "Yep, that's what I'm doing today."
Yeah.
And
He just left.
he
He
left
turned
work.
into Batman.
Yeah.
He's becoming the detective now.
He's like, "I'm gonna find this woman."
And he talks to everybody he knows in Los Angeles, which is apparently everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
Yeah, some old guy like shows him pictures of his daughters and stuff,
He's like,
trying to
you're
marry him
single?
off.
Let me show you pictures of my daughters.
Yeah,
Dad, if you ever do that,
just so you know, I'd never do
thank
that.
you.
I don't go into
I think
random
the
men
picture
and
you
say,
have of
"Hey,
us
let
in
me
your
show you
wallet
pictures of
is,
my
like, from
daughters."
when we were one. You don't even have pictures of us in your wallet.
No.
Nah, he
I
just
don't-
got bits of plastic he uses to buy light bulbs and other doohickeys.
I have a phone.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
We don't
Son
carry
breaks them.
pictures in wallets anymore. This
I
is
forgot about phones.
yeah.
So he
Did
does
ya?
too.
So Sonny like does his detective work, and he's not very good at it apparently, because he winds up on a beach where there's a guy sitting on a rock playing clarinet,
It was Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants.
and he just started like striking up a conversation with the
washed
guy,
up
and
on
suddenly
shore.
they became fast friends.
Okay, I'm sorry.
didn't know each other's names though.
One thing before we move on. He got a bag of popcorn, and this still bothers me, and I don't know why. But he offered the stranger popcorn.
I
I-
think it's because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and any like social interaction with a stranger just seems weird now.
Quick side note: do you remember when we were in like Six Flags Great Escape, and that family handed us the bag of peanut butter M&Ms? And
Yes, I remember that. And you started eating. I'm like, I'm not eating those.
I ate like half the bag, and I turned to Dad, and I'm like, "You want some?" And he's like, "You kidding? I don't know what they put in there." And then I like freaked out. Yeah, good times. Traumatizing your children. All right, let's move on. So he's on the beach. He bought his popcorn. He meets this guy with the clarinet
the
and starts
point of the
feeding him
popcorn?
popcorn. I don't think there was a point to the popcorn. I think they
That-
were literally just shooting on the beach, and the kid was like, "I want popcorn," and bought some. He's
And-
also a starving artist, so I don't think eating popcorn is exactly in the character description.
Yes, wearing a leather jacket and
On the
jeans
beach.
and a scarf
On the beach.
On a beach.
on the beach. But
And it
everybody
looks
else
like
is
it's
running
80
around in
degrees.
bathing suits.
But this is also California.
I guess so. So he had like a 50-degree, like little bubble around him where he was cold and everybody else was warm. Maybe he had some sort of like
Iron deficiency.
blood disease. Yeah.
He's mom.
Oh, she doesn't listen to this.
It's okay.
I don't blame her if she doesn't.
Nobody else is, so why not? And I guess Sonny and Danny become fast friends because they have so
Danny's
much
the
in
old
common.
guy.
Yeah, Danny's the old guy with the clarinet, if that wasn't obvious. They become
Gene,
friends.
Gene Kelly, by the way, an American treasure.
Yeah, so they're like on. Was that what's the pier or the?
It wasn't Santa Monica. It,
wasn't.
did
No, it
look
wasn't
like
Santa
it,
Monica
but
Pier. Okay,
It was
Anywho.
just a dock.
it was just a dock. They were on a dock, and he sees the girl, and was he roller skating then? I can't.
No.
he
remember.
was not roller
He
skating. He
got-
was on
skating.
foot. He borrowed a bike.
He borrowed a bike, and the lady was like, "Yeah, go ahead, take it. I don't need that back ever." And then he rode the bike, chased after the girl on the roller skates who kissed him earlier, and
But it's also a motorbike.
After he traded the girl his popcorn for the bike.
is that what did that
Yeah.
was there a trade?
I don't recall a
I
trade
don't- yeah.
that went place, but it's even so. I don't think a bag of popcorn is worth a motor scooter.
Okay, here's my question. It's a motor scooter. How the heck did he not catch up to her? She's
I don't
on
know.
roller skates.
And a bigger question would be, how did Danny, who has got to be 60s or beyond, like walk up to the pier like right after he like wound up in the water?
Oh yeah, what's his name? Sonny just sort of like went off the side of the pier, and honestly, I feel that after watching this movie.
I think that was my favorite part because it was kind of funny. I was
And
like,
then
oh, maybe
you're
there's some
like,
hope
oh,
for this.
they're rolling the credits now. All right, cool.
No, boy does not drown at dock, and movie does not end.
No.
No,
Instead, he winds up at this.
some cafe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they eat together, and like Danny's like, ha ha ha, don't go looking for underwater again.
And the other guy laughed way too long at that.
ha ha ha. Like, no, it's not even funny. This guy, like, what?
Yeah, but we find out Danny is like a
I
real
have a
estate
brain
mogul.
amoeba now. This isn't funny. I can only smell burnt toast.
So for whatever reason, I don't even remember how he wound up at Danny's house like the next day.
He ran into. Oh, he was on the ladder.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
He's
so
hanging up a poster.
Next day, he's hanging up a poster outside of some restaurant or something, and Danny walks by, and he's on the ladder, and he's like, "Hey, stranger," and they do some weird,
I have a question.
whimsical.
So, like, Sonny, he's supposed to paint. So what the heck is he doing hanging something up?
No
Is
idea.
that his job?
Maybe.
What is his job?
You heard he's supposed to take
Was
album
it Tuesday
covers
or
and blow
Wednesday?
them up so they can hang them in front of stores.
Maybe he was doing the hanging. In front
Maybe-
of stores.
maybe-
And then he left the ladder.
Yeah. Anywho, so Danny lures him back to his house with peanut butter M&Ms. He leaves the ladder out in the middle of the street where anybody could take a walk up it, fall, and then sue the restaurant or wherever he was hanging the banner. So they go to his house, and it's a really swanky place. And that's when you find out that it's Danny's basically been shininged because he's got a lot of old pictures in the Overlook Hotel.
Yes, he does, didn't he? It
How
did.
old is he? At least in the movie.
I don't know, but he kissed the leading lady or whatever, and that was weird. They made
Were
it
they supposed to
uncomfortable.
have some sort of relationship in 1945? Is that was?
That is the illusion. I don't think it ever really is concrete, but apparently
I think they
she was his
established
muse.
that, and they were like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. And then they never took it out of the movie, but they were like, yeah, we're gonna pretend that
Maybe
never
he's
happened.
schizophrenic.
Well, I don't know. You see
He's
him
off his
dancing.
meds.
He goes like dancing in his giant living room
I think it's a
to the
ballroom.
woman, and like all of a sudden, like he's
Well,
by himself
living-
dancing.
He's living alone in a huge house. I mean, what?
Yeah. So essentially, we learned that Danny has,
Mental disorders.
but he was big into swing, and he played clarinet with some of the big bands back in the, I don't know, the 50s, I guess.
1945.
Was it 45?
Yeah, they were
they made
draft
that
dodgers.
very clear. It was 1945.
Okay.
They're
I
like,
must
I
have
can't
blocked
go
that
to the
out.
war. I have a bad knee, and I need to play the clarinet.
Yeah. But I guess hanging out with Sonny like brings back his desire to
His
get back into
youthfulness.
music or
His
whatever
youthful glows back.
Yeah, he's like a parasite. He leeches off the youngness of Sonny.
of Sonny.
Yeah, that's how that worked.
Yeah. So Sonny eventually finds Kira again inside an abandoned
Warehouse,
building.
diner.
Movie theater? I thought it was the front gates for Hollywood Studios. Anybody else see that?
It was imitated a lot. It was actually
It looked like something from the 50s.
no, it wasn't from the 50s. It was called the Pan Pacific Auditorium. It was actually a very popular venue back in the
Is it
past.
a real building?
Yeah, it was a real building.
Oh, so
It
they
burned
tore
to the
it down.
ground in
That
1989.
makes sense. They
Oh.
burned it after the movie, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
I believe it.
Wait, who burned it to the ground?
So yeah, they do some like
It was
competitive roller
abandoned.
skating inside this warehouse thing.
No, she does roller skating. He just walks
Yeah,
around
he just
like
sort of
a
walks around and chases
oblivious
after her and
idiot.
yells her name. And no, he doesn't yell her name. He
He
yells
says, "Hey,
questions
you."
at
Know
her.
her name.
Yeah, he just yells questions at her over and over
Hey,
again.
who are you?
Hey, what are we doing here?
Where'd you go?
Hey, why am I following you? Oh wait, how would you know
Why
the answer
are
to
you
that?
in here?
And she just like giggles a bit and says, "Oh, we'll meet again." And she disappears, and he seems okay with that.
He's like, oh, alright, that's cool.
And then I don't know how they got on the topic, but they decide to open a nightclub.
Yeah, yeah.
Danny and Sonny, they're just like, "Yeah, let's do that." And
Oh, no,
he-
no, 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 no. Let me remind you. Danny was like, hey, you got a good eye.
Yeah,
Go pick me out a spot for
Yeah.
a nightclub.
he met this kid yesterday, and he's already asking him to act as a realtor. Does he have no faith? There's got to be like
Also,
thousands of
doesn't,
realtors in
like,
LA.
Sonny have a job?
it's not
Or
really
he's
a
like
realtor, I guess.
Painter?
It's more
He's
of
not
a
a realtor.
He's like, you have a good eye. I mean, at this point, Danny hasn't seen any of his artwork, right? Because he hasn't
What
made
was
any
the point
artwork.
of that? It was
I
like,
don't
you
know.
have a good eye. And they, like, made that statement a few times throughout the movie.
I guess he's got
But
an eye
he
for.
wasn't a painter at the end. He was a club owner.
Yeah, I don't quite understand
Yeah.
where this
you
good
kind
eye
of
is.
wonder that because we find out eventually that Kira is a muse. And
she works for Zeus,
yeah.
the Greek god.
So
They inspire literature.
they inspire.
And
So you would think that because he was an artist, she would help him create his artistic vision.
But she helps him become an entrepreneur.
Yes. It's kind of like if a muse came down and said, I want to write the next great American novel, and said, well,
You should be an
Here-
accountant.
here, why don't you open an ice cream parlor? Here you go.
Numbers, spreadsheets.
So
Yeah.
anywho, Sonny then lures Danny down to this weird theater thing, and basically says, "Hey, let's open this nightclub here." And then Danny, who again has met this kid twice, is like, "Hey, you want to be my partner?"
Oh, no. You forgot the 10-minute dance scene. Or the music scene.
Which one?
The one with the
Which-
big band.
No, the one in the theater, and it was like, was it Danny's like, oh, it's gonna be so classy and elegant, it's gonna have like a swing band over in that corner, and then Sonny goes, what are you talking about? No, it's gonna have
It's
a rock
gonna
band
have a
in that
rock
corner."
band.
But like,
Can we just say that
And
rock
then,
band
like,
would have been curb stomped by Nirvana and any other band in the 90s?
I got really
yeah.
uncomfortable during that scene just because there were so many leg warmers and it just made me uncomfortable and there was so many.
You don't like warm legs?
No, it
you know,
just
it
made,
was like that. They just kept going back and forth between the two like bands for like 10 minutes, and then you get back to Sonny and Danny, and you're like, oh my god, there's still a movie here. There's a plot. There's supposed to be a plot here.
Oh my god, I forgot this was supposed to be happening. It's like when a movie begins, then it's being narrated, and then the narrator shuts up because it's all a flashback, and at the very end of the movie, the narrator is like, "And that's how I tossed the stone into the ocean at the end of Titanic," and I'm just like, "Oh, I forgot there was a modern day element to this movie."
And we forgot there was a whole other scene before that where Sonny and Kira go roller skating in a music studio.
Oh
That
yeah, yeah. Remember he got because it was. I
Oh,
thought this was shortly
yeah.
after it. It
And
really
then
It
they
was
doesn't
like
matter.
the
all the
La La Land
scenes.
thing.
Don't say that. That's a good movie. This was a bad movie. We don't need to compare the two. But I will say, I really wanted to turn off the audio and listen to the two of them, or watch the two of them roller skate in the dark, because there was like very little dancing to it. It was just roller skating in coordination, like synchronized roller skating.
It wasn't synchronized.
That was pretty much it.
It might have
They
been.
were just moving props around them.
Oh yeah, that's true. But
That's how Kenny Ortega works. He moves the props around them, so it looks like they're dancing. It gives off the illusion that they're actually like,
good at their jobs.
yeah.
Okay.
he stopped doing that though, I think, at least. I hope.
Yeah, so they see this is this big band and rock band come together and they get this thing, oh, this is going to be great. And they start building it.
You
This-
slowly
well,
watch.
Kira and Sonny sort of fall in love, I guess, but then Kira's like, oh, I gotta go. Been
Bye.
nice
No,
knowing
you
you.
know what she said? She was like, my only mission here was to get, like, what was it? What's the name of the movie?
Xanadu.
Xanadu. My mission was to get Xanadu open. I'm like, that was your mission on Earth? Are you serious? They sent you down for that?
They sent you
Not to
down to
cure-
open a nightclub.
Not to
It's
cure
not
like
even a
a
nightclub.
disease or anything, just to open a nightclub that's
Not to create the next
Too
great, or
much?
inspire the next great sculpture, not to inspire the next great painting, but to open a Club 18.
Maybe she was being punished like the Time Bandits were, for making foliage. I don't quite understand it yet, but she like goes back because
Oh, wait. We forgot the part where they turn into an animated series and they become fish and
that's right.
birds.
Yes, there was an animated interlude by none other than Don Bluth, which is where he got his start, and you'll remember him from The Land Before Time,
Which one's
Oh
that?
my
The Secret of
goodness.
Nim.
Before Little
American
Bigfoot,
Tail.
Wait, what was the dinosaur's name? Little Bigfoot, or was it just
Littlefoot.
Littlefoot?
Yep.
Before Littlefoot's mom died, he cartooned that.
He cartooned that.
Did
That's
he
where
do
he got his start.
Anastasia?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It
'cause I
might have
thought
been
the-
Anastasia too. I don't know
I
for
thought
It
sure.
looked familiar.
The boy looked like Dimitri from Anastasia.
Yeah, he became
That's
a
what
big
they
animator
thought. That's
after
what
that.
they
But
thought.
they decided
Man,
that they
that's how
wanted
he
to
got his
include the
start?
song,
That's kind of
but figured it was too expensive to do another scene with the actors, so they just
Really? Because
That's
threw
like
an
the
animator
worst
at it.
start
Like
ever.
what? They're not dancing.
They're just sort of roller
Do you
skating
think
around
Kenny
the place.
Ortega choreographed the animated scene too?
I don't
He's
know
like,
how
"Alright,
he
the
would.
fish is gonna go that way.
All right, fish exit stage left. Other fish exit stage right.
What happened during the animated scene is that they bloomed from a rose, and then she jumped through a leaf and turned into a fish, and then fell into the water. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch her," because I guess that's the male like brain at that time is just I want to catch the female like what. And then he turns into a fish, and then she turns into a bird, and then he turns into a bird, and then she turns back into a human, but still standing on a leaf, so she's a small human. And then he's still like a little bird, and then she turns him back into a human, but they're still animated.
Yeah, all
It's
that
so
happens.
confusing.
I don't understand. It seemed like she was running from him, so maybe she kind of knew how this movie would end up, and she was just trying to get it done early.
He was just. He kind of freaks me out because he had like an obsession with her the entire movie.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. He kind of a stalker.
And so did Danny.
Danny did. We learned that that she was his muse at one time.
Ah,
Which is
yes.
just really weird.
Yeah, this whole movie was really weird. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. So
So what's next? She ends up telling what's his face that she's a muse, Sonny, that she's a muse, and so he's like, I don't believe you, and then she like
Manipulates the TV.
manipulates the dictionary and then the TV to be like, she's a muse, Danny, you gotta let her go. Oh, Sonny.
yeah,
She's a muse, Sonny, you gotta let her go.
and then she turns into like a bright light and leaves a gold vapor trail in his apartment.
I wonder if he's on fumes for the rest of the movie.
Maybe
That would explain
like he was
What if-
sniffing
That would
glue.
explain-
What if this entire like the first time he saw her, she was glowing yellow, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what if he just inhaled the fumes and he's been like been in the hospital ever since, and this is all just a
He's like
dream?
laying on the beach, just it was all
That
this
would
is
be
his
a
imagination.
lot more easier to comprehend and understand than I
See,
feel
and
like
then
the
you know
movie
what?
would be.
So she was his muse, and he was still a painter, and then he painted everything that happened.
I don't
There was
think
a lot of trippy drugs back in the
That-
early
that
'80s,
would've
so
been better.
that is a possibility. Guess you have to
Alright.
leave that.
So she leaves, and Sonny ends up trying to convince Danny that Xanadu is not worth opening without her. And so he's like,
Even though
he's
she
like,
has no like,
Yeah, he goes
Yeah,
and
he's-
sits on the
she's-
rock.
yeah, and he's like, it's not. There's no point without Kira. He's like, and Sonny's like, what do you mean? Or Danny's like, I already sunk like my entire life savings into this place.
I
Part-
sold
It
my
has
house.
to work. My kid's college tuition went in here. I don't understand. You're telling me this isn't gonna work now? He's like, well, then go find her, idiot. And then he does.
So yeah, wait, no.
Yeah, what does he do?
No, Sonny, he's roller skating around. He finds a wall.
He finds
And
the
it looks
mural.
like
And then he
Um,
Wile E. Coyotes it.
He does.
And then he
It's like,
just
he thinks a great idea is like, let me roll full speed into this thing and
he
see
does
what
like Harry
happens.
Potter. He gets the little trolley and he just runs right into the wall.
No. But the thing is, he does it. I don't know what intuition he had, because he's like, all right, I know she has 8 sisters. He walks up this one mural. It's just 9 girls like painted onto it, and you really can't tell any features of these women. And he goes, yes, that is Kira.
That's her.
Look at you,
He's like,
and he,
the girl I've known for 3 months is right in front of me on a painted
and
wall.
he's like, all right, let's get a running start. And he goes like back across the street, and he's like, all right, time to zoom. And he just flashes right into the wall.
and everybody
It
in
would
the
have
town
been
just
amazing if he got
looking
hit by
at
a
him like-
bus. That was how the movie ended.
Great. And he basically winds up in like a bowling alley at like Night Bowl or something like that. It's like all neon.
And then he gets into an argument, and so
What was happening when she was like, you have to leave before it happens? And he's like, what happening? What's gonna happen?
she's like, I don't know.
What was going
Weird
on?
shit happens here, man. I don't know what to tell you. Just get out of here. She had another guy coming over in like 10 minutes, so he couldn't be there when he showed up. And then Zeus, so she's like, I can't come with you. Muses aren't supposed to fall in love. And at this point, it's like, yeah, she developed feelings and fell in love. And then,
I have to help some guy open an aquarium next.
You know, they have to change, I guess, as time changes. So, you know, at first they were more into, like, literature and stuff, but now that we're more into, like, economy-based societies, they have to, like, switch over to entrepreneurs. So they know whoever's gonna make the most money, they're just gonna go after that.
You've got to go. I've got to help a guy design an app that's Tinder for dogs in 6 to 8 years. I can't be with you. And so, apparently muses don't have feelings, and I don't think you could have art without feelings, so that's kind of like, right? Like, that kind of flies in the face of the whole point of
That
being a
is
muse.
the reality that you're having a problem with here.
Look, Dad.
Right. Greek mythology has some weird stuff going
But
on.
it's
there.
such a glaring plot hole that it's like, come on, guys, you could have done
Like,
one thing
we are
right.
the muses. We inspire. I'm like, you don't know what you do. You
What does
obviously
it mean to be
don't.
inspired, you emotionless people?
What did she do to inspire Sunny?
She was like, hey, this is what you gotta do. Open a nightclub called Xanadu. It's not gonna make any
You know
money.
what? She didn't inspire.
What
she
about
told
this
him what
abandoned
to
rat-infested
do.
building?
She gave him a pep talk on
No,
absolutely
she didn't.
nothing.
She was like, all right. He was like, he wants me to find a spot. She's like, well, just take this spot. And he's like, oh, you're so smart. And he doesn't give her credit. Doesn't do anything.
Her name's not on the lease. She doesn't get any credit out of this.
Okay, what
She
did,
finds
what
a
did
spot,
Sunny
she gives
do
them a
for this
name.
entire movie? Like, besides complain.
He was partner, Kate. He only put in like maybe $6, and that was when he bought Danny lunch that one time. And then Danny did everything else. Anyway, so they're in Tron Legacy or whatever. Who cares?
He almost got hit by a light cycle.
But
I
they're
wish
they're
he
just
did.
chilling in, I don't know, Tron, and then he's like, I want to speak to your manager, bitch. And then
Karen.
Zeus came out of nowhere, and he's like, oh yeah, I think that'd be me. Oh, they don't call me Zeus anymore, so if you could call me, I don't know,
Say what they
Slappy.
call him.
call me Gotti
Mark
McGodface. What do you want? And he's like, I want her to come back with me. I don't care what Kira wants. Shut up, Kira. I want her with me. And then Zeus is like, oh, well, I'm not giving her to you. And she's like, but what do I want? And Zeus is like, hush now, you emotionless hag. And then he gets back and he's like, what do you give me for her? How about some cattle? You got any cattle? And then he's like,
I need a herd
2
of sheep.
cattle and 4 gold pieces.
and I think at some point Kira
Have
speaks
some
up and
magic
starts
beans.
singing or
No, and then
something
there's
about
like
how
a
she wants to be
female-
with this guy
Kira's
she
like,
just met.
I love him, okay? And then Zeus is like, yeah, no, goodbye.
And then there's also like a female voice going like trying to talk the
Yeah,
male
who's
voice out of
Zeus
it like,
married to?
Hera.
Really?
Yeah.
and
Well,
He
then
knows his
that
Greek
lady.
mythology. Let's not.
Yeah, I read a lot of Percy Jackson.
Apparently, there's some sort of like, it's good cop, bad cop thing
Yeah.
going on, and like you don't see Zeus. It's just a voiceover in this dark abyss of like Tron Legacy.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, it's just voices basically you hear. Mom and dad are arguing. The daughter doesn't get any
It's
say
like,
whatsoever.
I don't remember when she starts singing, but she starts singing about how she
remember,
wants to go with Sunny.
Sunny leaves. Zeus kicks Sunny out, and then she's like, "Oh my God, I love him, and I'm not supposed to have emotions." And she starts singing about it, and Zeus
Yeah,
is like,
it's-
"You know what?
It's
I'm really
time
sick
for
of
a
this.
musical interlude.
so he
I
kicks her
can't
out.
deal with you singing like this crap for the next 3 centuries. Just go."
Go enjoy your night out on the town.
It's like the Holy Grail with the the kid in the tower. I just want to sing. No,
No singing.
no singing. No
This is a
singing.
sing-free zone.
Yeah, Sonny gets banished from Tron Legacy, and he decides, you know what? Since Danny did make me his partner and invest all his money, maybe I should show up and be mopey around the Xanadu Club. And he got a nice little jacket out of the deal.
That says Xanadu on the back.
Yeah, so he had that. And do we know what Xanadu was?
No, it's like a
She
roller
explained
skate.
it, but I think we were talking over it at the time.
Did she
like-
explain it in song? Because I tuned
No,
all that out.
no. It was like halfway through the movie when Sunny first showed Danny the place, and then Sunny left to go do something. And Danny, like, she was just sitting in a dark corner. And Danny's like, oh, what to call this place? And, he tapped his chin. And she goes, Xanadu. He's like, Xanadu? And she's like, Xanadu, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we know what it.
It's-
I think it was. I think it came from Xanadu Kubla Khan or whatever it was back in the.
What?
It was the Far East. It was like a
I think it's like
fortress or something like that. I think.
You think it'd
If you
be
look
something to
at
do with
back
Greek
in the old
mythology.
history, however, I'm not talking about. Was it a nightclub? Was it a
It was
roller
a
skating
nightclub,
rink?
It was,
Was
a
it a
bar,
roller derby?
It was a
A
roller
theater,
skating
maybe?
rink.
It was a
A place
skate
to
zone for
cry
people
over
18
your
and up.
ex. It
Okay.
was a dance floor. It was all of the above.
It seemed like
And
it had like
It was
Oh my
customer
God.
500
service, and
employees
it was
with
a
no
wood
customers.
shop.
We forgot the montage of them dressing up Danny just so he could show up in a tux.
oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a nice little aside, wasn't it?
That was weird. I didn't like the hair that we saw there. It was all spiky and
It was
Like,
punk
flaming purple.
pinks and different things that happened.
It was like a bunch of who's from the live-action Grinch.
Oh no, but the live-action Grinch was much better than this.
Moving on. So, what's this? Sunny is moping at Xanadu, or Xanadu, whichever you prefer. And then, who else shows up? Akira, kicked out because Zeus couldn't handle her singing. And so,
What does she do?
she sings. And she does
For
not
like a
stop.
full 15 minutes.
She does multiple
wait,
costume
wait,
changes
Wait,
and
we're getting there. So for the first like 15 minutes of the song, she doesn't show up. It's just like what's his name? Danny just skating around with his posse behind him, just doing like a chant with their arms, right?
Waving their arms around, just like
Xanadu, and they just keep doing that for like a good hour.
Xanadu.
And then like they all just start clapping or something.
It
And
was
then,
like a cult.
yeah.
What
It
is
wa-
up with these cult movies?
And they're all dressed in the same thing, which is a little weird. And then Kira shows up somehow. I don't remember. How does she show up?
I think it
She
was
just
a beam
like sort of
light.
pops in there with her sisters and they start singing Xanadu.
Yeah, they start saying
Were there any
Xanadu.
lyrics other than, were there any words in the lyrics
No.
other than Xanadu, or was it just Xanadu, like over and over again at different tones
Okay.
and pitches?
So they have like a nice like swing thing at first that sort of reminds you of like the beginning of Temple of Doom.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they go into
Anything goes.
what was the next one? Did they go straight into country?
I think they went to
No,
rock.
they
went into
they
rock,
had to
that's
warm up
right.
to country, I think. Yeah, that's right. They had a rock interlude. And then
And-
they had western.
Again, it's the same word over and over again for
They
like
had
15,
cheetah
20
print
minutes.
thingy.
Yeah, and they had the country, and then they had like she had a beer, and they all were wearing cowboy hats, and then they went into some sort of alien like 25th century thing where
Like
she
a
was in like
synthesizer type.
some
beat.
tinfoil dresses.
Yep. And then she disappeared.
No, and then she went back into her normal dress, and then all her everybody in the room disappeared, which was a little weird. And then it was just like her and her sisters, and then they all sort of just shot into the sky, and she was in the middle, and then she was just like, yeah, bye bye, and she's like, she just
It's a-
pinged on up there.
That's a tough
And then
opening night to
Caitlin-
follow. The people come
Yeah.
back a week later and they're like,
what do
wait
they
a minute,
charge
what the
them
hell?
for?
There's
Do they
nothing
charge
going
I
on
don't
here.
know
Entry
if it's
fee?
like
Is it an entry fee or do they?
it's
I
like
didn't
girls
see
getting it for
drinks.
free, guys are $10 or something. I want the budget meeting the next morning when Sunny and Danny are sitting there. And it's like, okay, so it was about 20 grand for all the dancers, all 40, 50, 500 of them we had
The
last
3
night.
fountains.
Don't forget the
Uh,
jugglers.
10 grand in gear for the roller skates,
Juggling
and then
mimes.
the custom
It costs extra
jackets,
for them to be mimes.
the lights, the speakers, all the AV stuff that cost about $15,000.
The roller
The,
skates.
the lady hanging from the trapeze and spinning.
Yeah, that also cost another 2 grand. So we're looking at about 100 grand debt just for the first night, and we made let's see here, $3 from the 2 guys that walked in.
we
gave
didn't
them a
charge
discount for
anything.
getting
Like,
in
what
early.
did they charge?
Yeah. Sonny was giving away free for everybody, right? He was
Son-
like,
He
was
opening
like-
night's on me, guys.
No, and then don't you remember Danny's like, oh, it's not for celebrities, it's for anybody who comes. I'm like, wait, no, you want the celebrities. That's how you run a business.
It's like only the employees showed up to the thing, so it's
It
like they made
was.
no money. They lost money.
Well, they always have the rock on the beach.
Oh
They
no,
can play clarinet on
remember
it.
Sunny at the very end. Sunny was watching her watching her, and she was singing, and then she left, and he was like, "What? She left? Like, did he not expect her to leave?"
Like, did he not have a conversation with her father about this like a minute ago?
Yeah.
She was just like, "Just for a minute." He was like, "Fine," and she just left, and he was like, "I was like surprised Pikachu face." He's like, "Ah." And then he just like turned around and started moping again. We're like, good job. That's all you're good for in this movie, just moping around.
But the
He doesn't
waitress,
do
I think,
anything else.
was it the same actress who played the waitress too, or was it
That-
just a different blonde?
No,
Because if that's the case, I don't think it was made to last, Sunny.
that was also Olivia Newton-John, yes.
Oh, okay.
Was that supposed to be Akira again?
I don't
believe
care.
so. Does
I'll-
it matter
Yeah.
at that point?
I don't really care.
We're
And
just happy
according
that
to
the
his
credits roll.
coworker, he gets all the ladies.
Oh
So
yeah,
like-
and then she was the waitress, and he's like, "Wait, I want to talk to you." And then they just started talking, and the credits rolled, and then we turned off the movie as soon as possible.
So that was it. That was Xanadu.
Mhm.
How long have we been recording? Like 29 minutes?
Oh.
The reviews were not kind to this movie.
Good.
Variety called it a stupendously bad film whose only salvage is the music.
No.
Ah,
Roger
No.
Ebert called it mushy and limp musical fantasy. And Esquire magazine said, in a word, Xanadon't.
Yes.
I like Xanadu more.
Actually, the film inspired J.B. Wilson to create the Golden Raspberry Awards, which we know as the Razzies, that are broadcast a week before the Oscars to celebrate the worst achievements in film. And
How
for
come
that
we've never
year,
watched those?
it won for direction for Robert Greenwald. And I
Wait.
think it was nominated for 6 other awards, which means it didn't win them all, which means there are actually worse movies in 1980 than Xanadu.
Please don't show
I'm
them to us.
When did the black hole come out?
That was 79, officially.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad movie. This was a bad movie, too.
So apparently, there was no script for the movie. That's what we learned.
I believe that.
They were writing it as they were shooting it.
Yeah, playing things by ear goes great. We tried that for the first episode of this podcast. That episode will never be released.
Which episode was that?
The Guardians of the Galaxy one where Dad was like, "We'll just wing it. It'll be fine."
Yeah, it didn't quite work out that way.
Into
Yeah,
the
they
galaxy?
didn't write. They wrote it as it went. Apparently, Joel Silver, who had produced a great deal of movies in the '80s, he held one of the script writers to ransom for 3 days against his will because he wouldn't deliver any
God.
script pages. That's the rumor.
Oh,
Supposedly, this movie was actually based on a 1947 Rita Hayworth film called Down to Earth, which was a sequel to 1941's Here Comes Mr. Jordan, which was also remade in 1978 as Heaven Can Wait with Warren Beatty.
Cool.
Of memorable note, this was Gene Kelly's last film role.
Aw. He
That's
really went
sad.
out in a bad one, huh?
oh man. I will say this feels like if you know, like those pretentious film students, the ones who are like, "Oh, the Marvel movies aren't that good." This feels like something they would make on their very first attempt when they are still very bad at making movies to emulate La La Land. It's kind of the same plot, but in the worst way possible.
Can I say, I'm taking a film class right now, and this is my first year. If I were to turn that in as a project, like, a lot of the things that we make, like, suck. But, like, if I were to turn that in, I'd probably get, like, at most a B.
And this is a feature. It made $19 million.
My teacher would be like, what the heck were you on while making this?
This was considered a major bomb. However, a revamped version of this film made it to Broadway in 2007. 2007,
it?
and it was actually much more warmly received, and it was nominated for 4 Tony Awards.
What was it called?
Xanadu.
Really?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, it actually made it to
I
Broadway.
could see it being better on Broadway, because Broadway, you have a lot more,
Pizzazz.
Well, so they supposedly made the script a lot more tongue-in-cheek, a lot more sarcastic. They didn't,
yes.
they added a little bit
instead
more
of just the
wit
weird,
to
mopey,
it.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Sunny?
Sunny.
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 So Olivia Newton-John fell down and broke her coccyx while they were filming the number for Suddenly, when they were roller skating around in that studio with
Yeah,
the
they were not
umbrellas.
wearing helmets or pads.
Nope.
No.
So she fell down and broke her rear end.
I think I'd rather break my rear end than watch this again.
Yeah, as Kate noted, Kenny Ortega, this was his first film.
He did Newsies, he did High School Musical, he did Descendants, he did
and
Julie and
Julie
the
and the Phantoms.
Phantoms. All of which are like masterpieces, but then you look at this and you're like, what the heck did you do, dude?
He also did Pretty in the Pink and Dirty Dancing.
He
You
did
know
Pretty
the
in Pink and
movie-
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, choreographer. So he wasn't the lead choreographer. He was like sort of an assistant in this particular film, but this is
Makes
where he got his
sense.
start. So maybe some good came out of it.
There was another movie that Dad turned on once, and it had these people, and they jumped into a volcano or something.
Oh, you're talking about Joe versus the volcano.
And then they burst out the volcano and then they go into the water.
that the one
Okay, yeah.
SpongeBob
What
episode?
is the point of this?
I think that after complaining about those, I find this a lot worse.
Well, I would
Alvin
hope
and
so.
the Chipmunks shipwrecked. That one also had a volcano in it.
There was no volcano in this movie. I don't know where we're getting volcanoes from. We're sort of going off topic here.
It's okay. It's probably better that way.
I will say that in 1983, a man from Louisiana named Michael Owen Perry came to believe that Olivia Newton-John was actually a Greek goddess who was using her eyes to communicate with him, and he went on a killing spree.
Oh my god!
So this movie actually is responsible for murder.
Oh, do you remember the? Okay, so I've been watching Mindhunter. Do you know the spree killer with the dog, who told him the devil possessed his dog and told him to kill people?
Yeah, that was the Son of Sam.
Yeah, they had the interview for that too, and it immediately just thought of that in Mindhunter.
Well, that suddenly took a dark turn, didn't it? But then again, this was kind of this movie caused us to go to some pretty dark places.
What?
This movie caused the recession in 2008.
I don't know about that.
After it made its way to Broadway, everybody was like, "Oh, let's watch the movie."
Oh no!
Yeah, this
And everybody started buying nightclubs.
this movie ended quite a few careers, pretty much. I mean, Olivia Newton-John was really big after Grease. This sort of just tanked everything. I mean, she was still a singer for a while, but then she sort of retreated back to Australia. She did meet her husband on this film.
Who's her husband?
I don't remember. He was one of the bit actors in this, but there wasn't really anybody else in this that
Never
you saw.
seen the guy that played Sonny again.
No,
Yeah,
he
me
was in
neither.
he was in a film called Warriors about New York gangs in the 70s, but you didn't really see much of him after this particular film. Actually, Olivia Newton-John wanted an
Couldn't
unknown
guess why.
Australian actor to play the role named Mel Gibson.
Oh.
So that was interesting. John Travolta was also offered the role, but he turned it down to film another movie.
He didn't like Olivia Newton-John.
He did film another movie with her after Grease, sometime in the
Not
early
Grease
80s.
2, because that's
It was not
people.
Grease 2. That was something totally different. Maybe we'll visit that someday.
Let's
No.
not. Please, God, no, I've seen it.
I don't remember the original Grease.
You don't want to see Grease 2.
Okay, I believe you.
I liked the first one, so I watched the second one. I'm like, how bad can it be? And then I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do to myself? And then Netflix took it off because they were smart.
All right, so that basically sums up all we've got for Xanadu. So let me ask the question that I know you guys are dying to answer.
No.
Are you glad that Dad made me watch it?
No.
Honestly, yes. Because
I'm sorry, what?
because it makes me know that no matter any time that I go into when Corona's over, if I go into a movie theater and I come out not liking the movie, that it can't be as bad as this movie.
Okay.
This really makes me wish I could go back in time and kill one of my great-great-great-grandfathers to make sure that I never, ever have to see this movie.
Why would you go
Wow.
back that far?
To make sure, I'm hoping that through Butterfly Effect, the movie will never be made in the first place.
You
Why don't
wouldn't
you
makes
just
me
ask
wanna-
Google if you can get an hour and a half of your life back?
The movie wants me.
Hey Google, can I get an hour and a half of my life back?
I
She
think
linked me to
that's
TripAdvisor.
No, she. So the movie, aside from being a terrible movie, though, the soundtrack actually went to #1, and the one song "Magic" was like #1 on the U.S. Billboard charts for a number of weeks.
Which one was Magic?
It was the one that was playing
The first one?
when she was in the first time that he went into the abandoned building, and she was just skating around, and he was like shouting questions. She wasn't singing the song; it was just playing.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
I thought the one by Electric Light Orchestra wasn't too bad at the beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
it was basically the two of them that
Poor
ELO
Electric
and
Light Orchestra. I don't think they knew what they were doing.
Poor
like,
bastards.
oh,
got
it's a
duped.
gig. Let's do it. Some extra cash. All right, everybody. That's it for this episode of Dad Made Me Watch It. Tune in next time as we take a Halloween approach to things and
If
take
this
a look
comes
at
out before Halloween.
a little bit before Halloween.
No. I mean, this one's gonna come out before Halloween, hopefully.
Oh yeah, this will come out before Halloween. But,
But,
we're
like, the
gonna
next
we're gonna dial up the terror a little bit. Well, as much as we can
This
with a
was
PG
terrifying. I don't know what you're talking about.
with a PG movie. And we're going to take a look at Poltergeist. So tune in next time. If you have any desire to see Xanadu, even after our discussion of it here this evening, you can
No, you
find it
don't.
streaming currently on HBO.
I wish.
You don't need to look for it.
Yeah, I wish anybody who does.
If you see it on TV, turn off the TV and go outside. Even if it's raining, there's a thunderstorm, hurricane, tornado,
Blizzard,
earthquake,
pandemic.
tsunami,
It'd be way better than sitting
zombie
through that
apocalypse.
Solar flare.
movie suffering.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody.